Hello, it's Jessica from a Diamond and Sticks YouTube channel, and I figured I'd sit out here and do a short video with you all. I watched that series the other day on Netflix called Monsters or something. It was about the Menendez, however you say it, brothers, about Lyle and Eric Menendez or whatever their names were. And I just wanted to share with y'all my opinion, obviously, about their case and their situation or whatever. I think it happened back in the late 80s or early 90s or somewhere within that time range or whatever. And they were the ones who unalived their parents. And in the series or whatever, it was a short little series, limited time series or whatever. It only had about maybe, I don't remember how many for sure, but I think it had about 10 episodes or something. Didn't have many episodes, but it showed the abuse that they had to withstand, the brothers, and obviously it was the brothers' side of things. But I believe it, in my opinion, and I don't believe that they got the right justice that they deserved. I don't think that they deserved it to stay and rot or nothing in jail or prison or whatever like they did. And I don't think they deserved the death penalty either, but they didn't get that because what happened was another juror ended up coming in and sitting for one of the jurors that was already on the stands or whatever. And anyways, though, they was molested, they was raped, they was done all kinds of sexual abuse and stuff from their parents and everything in that case. And they had to withstand a lot of stuff that was going on in their lives and stuff. So it was really a trigger, and I mean, I'm glad I watched it and stuff, but it was somewhat triggering for me, and it might be for some of you all too, if you've ever had to deal with abuse or anything, or past traumas, PTSD, or anything like that traumatic from your all's childhoods or anything like that. And obviously my childhood wasn't to the extent of that, but I did have trauma and stuff, triggering things that still goes on to this day, because unfortunately, like I keep telling you all, sorry I shouldn't say cuss words like that. I effing hate living here. I despise this place. I always will, as long as I have to live here. I can't stand it, and it's not what I want at all. It's not where I want to be at, and it's never where I intended to live for the rest of my life. And it's not a peaceful place for me. It's a traumatic place, and like I said before in my other videos, it's hell on earth for me, and I can't stand this place. So that's just my opinion or whatever, because it's my YouTube channel and it's my life. It's about me. And so I just wanted to share that with you all. But back to the Menendez brothers or whatever, I believe them 100%. And I think if it had been a different time period, a different decade, a different year, or whatever, I don't think that society would have looked at them in the way that they looked at them, about them being sexually abused, being raped or whatever. And I don't think that they're, enlisted or whatever. And I don't think society would have had the same outcome or whatever. And by them being supposedly forced in participation of the GAY stuff and all that, I think that just society and stuff back then was a different time period. And I just don't think that it would have had the same outcome. But the ending of it was really sad on the series. I don't know if anything's happened, and I don't know what year that was when that happened, when they got transferred or nothing like that. But the ending where they did get transferred, where one of the brothers had to go to like Boston, Massachusetts or somewhere, And then the other one, I don't know where they was taking him. They didn't really say, but they separated them and they took him out of the LA County jail or prison or whatever and separated them. So, anyways, I 100% believe them boys. I don't believe that those boys was fully. Obviously, they came from a family of money that had money, and I don't believe that it was 100% about the money. I think that the sexual abuse was going on. I think that their father was a complete douchebag from hell, and I think their mother was just like their father, and she was a complete devil douchebag from hell. And so that's just my opinion of them, and I can totally see it and stuff in that series and stuff. And so I think that they both suffered from all kinds of abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, um, mental abuse, emotional abuse, abuse in all shapes and forms is what I think about that TV series. So that's just my opinion, and I do not think justice was served, and I do not think, even though they would be much older now, they would probably be like in their, I'm assuming they would probably be like in their late 50s, maybe even their 60s by now and stuff. But I still don't believe that they should have to suffer, and it's terrible what happened to them, that they've had to suffer this long imprisoned or incarcerated or whatever. And I don't think that they should have to spend the rest of their days still yet to this point or nothing in prison or jail or anything like that, like they're doing. So that's just my opinion and stuff. But anyways, I watched that series full, and I do believe that their parents was like that. I believe that their parents were evil, and I don't believe that the brothers were evil, and I don't fully believe that the brothers were after money or anything like that. I'm sure that they were to a certain extent, because obviously their family had money and they were young at the time when it happened. I guess they were like in their later teenage years, early adulthood years, and from always growing up from that or whatever, that environment, I'm sure, yes, to a certain point it was, but that wasn't the reason, that wasn't the motive, in my opinion, of why they unalived their parents or anything like that. But in my opinion, they are 100% innocent, and I think that they should be freed, but I don't look for that to be happening or anything like that. But that's just my opinion on that case. And if y'all are interested in watching that series, it's still on Netflix right now. It's called like Monsters something other. And even in that series, their mother's like, "Oh, I hate my children," and all this stuff. And it's just a real toxic relationship between everyone in that family, between the husband, between the wife, and even at the end there, where it kind of leads to saying like, oh, the husband and wife kind of made up. It was too far gone at that point, and I can totally relate to that. Maybe not to that extent, but I can totally relate to that series and stuff. So anyways, it was kind of triggering. I'm just going to warn you all, some of y'all who might have post PTSD or traumas or whatever. It is a triggering show, and it can be a triggering show, but at the same time, I enjoyed watching it. I just don't think, if that was to happen nowadays, which you never know, especially if it was to happen in a place like this, I think the environment is a 100% factor in that situation or whatever, like a lot of situations. But where that happened in a city like out in California, out in LA County or whatever, and it was a place of money, I think if something like that was to happen nowadays or whatever, I just don't think that that would have went down like that. I don't think that those boys would have ended up imprisoned or whatever in that situation, and that's obviously just my opinion or whatever. But I don't think that they would have been imprisoned or whatever for doing that if that had happened nowadays. I think that the jurors would have looked at that under different circumstances, and I am so thankful that with that being a real true life story, what happened where the other juror that was on that ended up on that case for whatever the reason was, and it does show in the series of why that happened. But anyways, because that other juror that came in at the last minute there, he was kind of like similar to the way that I would have believed and stuff in a jury case, because um, even back in that time period, he 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 didn't really say for sure, but he didn't really care much for the death penalty, you could tell. And that's the way I feel. I'm not really much on the death penalty either, and I'll talk about that in a different video. Let me get a drink of my coffee, sorry. But anyways, just in general, I feel so sorry for the Eric and Lyle Menendez, or however you say their name. And I believe 100% that their parents deserved it. And I believe that 100% that if they hadn't did what they did, that their parents would have turned around and done it to them because of the past traumas, the past abuse, in every shape and form that they did to those two boys. I think that they would have turned it around and done it to them. And that's just my opinion, but if any of y'all are interested or whatever, y'all can check out that series. It's still on Netflix. It's called Monsters and something, and it's about the Menendez brothers. They did it obviously with actors playing their parts, because there's two different series right now on Netflix. There's like a documentary series, and then there's like a Netflix kind of like made up series from the story or whatever. And the one I watched was called Monsters or something, but I don't know what the other documentary series is called. But anyways, I'll get off here. I was just wanting to tell you all my opinion, obviously, on that case with the Menendez brothers. And sorry if I'm not saying their names correctly, but it's Eric and Lyle Menendez or whatever. And so, and I want to warn you, there is a trigger warning for past abuse and stuff in that Netflix series. So that's just my opinion on it. Alright, well, I'm going to get off here, you guys. I hope everyone's having a great day, and I appreciate each and every one of y'all who subbed to me and follow me, like and share and comment. Thumbs up, thumbs down, it all works the same. And I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks, bye.